Ever wondered how to make an authentic Australian meat pie at home? Welcome to the world of culinary delights, where today we'll be exploring the scrumptious realm of Aussie cuisine with their beloved national dish, the Australian meat pie. A dish that's as iconic as the Sydney Opera House or the Great Barrier Reef, the Australian meat pie is steeped in rich history. Originating from Britain, it quickly found its way into the hearts and homes of Australians, becoming a staple at every sporting event, local bakery, and family gathering. This savory sensation, with its flaky pastry crust and hearty meat filling, has won the hearts of foodies around the globe. Its delicious taste is a symphony of flavors that lingers on the palate, leaving you yearning for more. The Australian meat pie is more than just a dish. It's a culinary journey that takes you through the rich and vibrant culture of Australia. Stay tuned as we unravel the secret to preparing this mouth-watering dish right at your home. To whip up this delectable dish, we need a few specific ingredients. Let's get our checklist ready, shall we? First and foremost, we need minced meat. 1 pound of good quality beef mince should do the trick. It forms the heart and soul of our pie, providing that hearty, meaty flavor we all crave. Next up, we have onions. A single large onion, finely chopped, will add a delightful crunch and a hint of sweetness to our meat pie. The onion's flavor, when cooked down with the minced meat, truly elevates the taste of the pie. Now, let's talk about the beef broth. We'll need around 2 cups of this. The broth not only helps in keeping our meat moist and juicy, but also imparts a rich, deep flavor that is essential to the overall taste of the pie. Moving on, we come to the puff pastry. Here we require 2 sheets of ready-made puff pastry. The buttery, flaky texture of the puff pastry is what gives our meat pie its signature crust. You can find these in the frozen section of most grocery stores. We also need some seasonings to add that extra punch to our pie. A teaspoon each of dried oregano and thyme, a dash of salt to taste, and a generous grind of black pepper should suffice. Don't be afraid to adjust these to your liking. After all, cooking is all about personalizing your dish. To bind everything together, we'll need a tablespoon of flour. This acts as a thickening agent, ensuring our meat filling isn't too runny. Last but not least, we need 1 egg for the egg wash. This will give our pie that beautiful golden brown finish we all love. Now take a moment to double check your list. Ensure you have all these ingredients ready before we dive into the cooking process. Remember, preparation is key in any culinary adventure. So, let's gear up for the next step in our journey to create the perfect Australian meat pie. The first step in our cooking journey is to prepare the meat filling. Now, this isn't just any filling, it's the heart of our Australian meat pie, so we want to ensure it's packed with flavor and texture. Let's start by sautéing the onions. Grab a large pan and heat a good glug of oil over medium heat. Once the oil is shimmering, toss in your finely chopped onions. You'll want to stir these occasionally, letting them sauté until they're soft and translucent. A sweet base for our filling. Next, it's time to introduce our star ingredient, the minced meat. Make sure your meat is fresh and lean for the best results. Crumble the mince into the pan with the onions, breaking it up with your spoon as you stir. Let it sizzle and brown, allowing each piece to soak up the flavors from the onions. Once your meat has browned nicely, it's time to elevate the flavors with some carefully chosen spices. A dash of salt, a sprinkle of black pepper, and a pinch of thyme can work wonders here. Mix them in and let the meat absorb these aromatic additions. Now we're going to add a touch of richness to our filling with some beef broth. Pour it in slowly, letting it simmer with the meat and spices. This will help to tenderize the meat and infuse it with a deep, savory flavor. Let your filling simmer away until most of the broth has been absorbed and the flavors are well married. We're almost there, but there's one final touch. A spoonful or 2 of tomato paste. This will not only give your filling a lovely color, but it also adds a tangy sweetness that balances the richness of the meat and broth. Stir everything together one last time, letting the tomato paste mingle with the rest of the ingredients. Let it cook for a few more minutes until you have a thick, hearty filling. And voila, your meat filling is ready to be filled into the pastry. Remember, a good filling is the soul of a great pie, so take your time and enjoy the process. Now it's time to give shape to our meat pie with the puff pastry. Imagine you're a sculptor and your medium is not stone or clay, but this pliable, buttery dough. Your creation is not just a treat for the eyes, but a feast for the senses. That's right, we're about to sculpt our Australian meat pie. So let's get started. First, lightly flour your work surface. This prevents the dough from sticking, making it easier for you to work your magic. Now, take the puff pastry out of the fridge. It's important that it's chilled, not frozen or too warm, as this could affect the texture. Unroll it with care, like you're unfurling a precious piece of parchment. Next, gently roll out the pastry. Keep an even pressure on your rolling pin and make sure to roll in different directions. This will help you achieve an even thickness throughout the pastry. Remember, you want it thin, but not too thin. We're looking for that sweet spot where the crust is light and flaky, but sturdy enough to hold our hearty meat filling. Once your pastry is rolled out, it's time to place it in the pie dish. Lift the pastry gently, cradling it in your hands, and lay it carefully in the dish. Press it gently into the corners, making sure it fits snugly. It's like tucking a blanket around a sleeping baby. You want it secure, but not squashed. Now for the exciting part. Spoon the meat filling into the pastry shell. Be generous but not overzealous. You want enough filling to satisfy, but not so much that it spills over. Smooth the filling out with the back of your spoon, creating an even layer. Then take the second piece of pastry and lay it over the top. Crimp the edges to seal the pie, ensuring all that delicious filling stays right where it belongs. With the meat filling tucked in, we are one step closer to our Australian meat pie. Our pie is now ready to hit the oven. The anticipation of this moment is always exciting, isn't it? The culmination of all the steps we've taken so far is about to take shape in the form of our delectable Australian meat pie. Let's start by preheating our oven. This is a critical step as it ensures even baking. You'll want to preheat it to about 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 200 degrees Celsius. If you're using a fan-assisted oven, you might want to lower the temperature by about 20 degrees. While our oven is preheating, let's take a moment to brush the top of our pie with a beaten egg. This will give our pie that beautiful glossy finish we all love. Once the oven is ready, we can place our pie on the middle rack. This is the best spot for even heat distribution. Now, how long should we bake it for? It's a good question. We're looking at approximately 25 to 30 minutes. But remember, every oven is a bit different, so keep an eye on it. How will you know when the pie is perfectly baked, you ask? Well, the top of the pie should puff up slightly and take on a lovely golden brown hue. The crust should be firm to the touch, but not hard. If you notice the edges browning too quickly, you can cover them with a bit of aluminum foil to prevent burning. The aroma wafting from your oven will be a feast for your senses, making the wait all the more tantalizing. Remember, the key to a great pie is patience. Don't be tempted to rush the baking process. Let the oven do its magic. Once your pie has achieved a golden brown color, it's a sign that your Australian meat pie is ready. And there you have it, the perfect Australian meat pie, baked to perfection and ready to tickle your taste buds. The flaky crust, the hearty meat filling. It's a symphony of flavors just waiting to be enjoyed. So go ahead, dig in. Just to recap, we've walked through the process of making an authentic Australian meat pie. We started by gathering all the necessary ingredients, an essential first step in ensuring a smooth cooking process. Next, we moved on to preparing the meat filling, a hearty mix of ground beef, onions, and a blend of spices. Remember the tip about cooking the meat thoroughly to bring out its full flavor? Then we prepared the pastry, the vessel that holds our delicious filling. We emphasized the importance of a flaky golden crust, achieved by using cold butter and taking care not to overwork the dough. Finally, we baked the pie, watching it transform into a golden aromatic delight. Here, the tip was to keep an eye on the oven to avoid overbaking. Now it's your turn to try this recipe at home. Enjoy the taste of Australia in every bite.